So Jorge Costa is an assistant professor of studio engineering and recording at Arizona State University. He explores the intersection of music, audio engineering, and artificial intelligence. A producer and engineer with over 1 billion streams across music, film, and television. Yes, he has worked with artists including Korn, Dr. Dre, Wiz Khalifa, Melissa Etheridge, and Alex Werman. He is a founding member of H-Core and a co-founder of the Renewal Music Collective. Please give a warm welcome to Jorge Costa.
So first of everything, so excited to have you all here. As you've heard, a common thread is, we've been fortunate enough to have some incredible conversations in a closed group. We don't want this to be a closed group. We want to have your voices in, so thank you for being here. So when I was thinking about the presentation, right, as a music maker, AI is not an easy topic. I'm grossly understating. So I started focusing on how can we prototype human-centered AI experiences, right? So how can we use these AI tools in a positive way, right? Not just for non-musicians that want to play with those tools, which is totally fine, but also for the people that have been putting all this effort into developing their skill sets and now have tools that apparently can do everything we do, which is not a happy thought. Now, even though I'm kind of on the AI bandwagon, but not just following whatever is in front of me, I'm really trying to be very critical as I move forward. I also want to share that, this is where I started. I was freaked out. First time I used AI in music, it was terrible, and I was so happy it was bad. When it wasn't bad, this is what came to mind. And it's still in the back of my mind, by the way. So I think for me has been really healthy to keep just a certain amount of fear to keep me in check as I explore these tools, and more importantly, as I bring them to my students, right? Because, I've had a good run. If the end of the world is tomorrow, hey, I'm cool. I want my students to have a better future than what I have gone through. So with that being said, I started thinking, well, why do artists make art, right? It is about expression. It's not just about getting an end product. If I, type 3 words, I get a finished song, where's the journey? Where's the pleasure of creation, of creating music, of making mistakes so I learn? So if I just use that tool to get to the end of it as quickly as possible, just to be efficient, I'm missing the whole reason why I became a musician. And I don't want to lose that, and certainly I don't want my students to lose that. So as I started diving into this, I decided to explore these tools. Actually, Dave Toole, who you've all met, was kind of my partner in crime where we started exploring with these tools, sort of in a safe space. And then I started bringing this to my colleagues and my students because I really wanted to find the right place for these tools in the creative process. And as we've also heard before today, I don't have the answer. It's a moving target, and I might change my mind tomorrow from what I shared today. But the first thing when I started thinking of designing this process is it cannot replace human beings. If I start by figuring out how do I replace potential collaborators so I don't have to bother with all the pesky musicians, then I'm going in the wrong direction. Quite the opposite. I want to figure out how do I bring these tools in a way that they can help us create more collaboration. And in this process, I did my best to identify what was the least efficient and satisfying process in creating and crafting a fully produced song. And I also gotta give a shout out to Dave for bringing the word prototyping. We don't use this word in music. We call it demo. We create demos of songs, and when Dave told me that's a prototype, my mind exploded. So I've been trying to bring this into the music world because I think it's a really great way and a really wonderful word. So when I speak about this in musical terms, you don't have to be a musician, right? Everybody understands prototyping, so hopefully what I'm sharing with you, you can take to whatever you do, whatever your specialty is, whatever your area is. Hopefully this can inspire you in bringing these tools in a healthy way. So I had the opportunity to create this wonderful experiment with a bunch of my students and students that were not my students. So I got 3 different classes to collaborate in a project. And everything started with a human idea. So there's an advanced ensemble we have at ASU, a popular music ensemble, incredible musicians. They wanted to create new songs to bring into their repertoire. So it was not just playing other people's music. And not all of them are experienced songwriters. So I invited some of them to bring some of their ideas so we could figure out how can AI help us get to the other side without skipping the process. And I'll share, this is the idea that was sent to me by a couple of our students that really inspired me to move forward.
Reaching for a time, breaking all the lines, and waiting and feel my breath wait for a day. Reaching for the time, nothing comes alive. I'm wanting big.
So I heard this idea once in my email, and then I realized I was humming that tune for the rest of the day. So I figured there's something here worth exploring. And the struggle from the students were like, we don't know where to go from here. So I designed a class called AI in Music Production, and I brought in my students to collaborate, and we used a platform that will remain unnamed for now, because I don't like them. I like them in some ways, not much in others, to explore what are the possibilities. Because traditionally, when you get an idea for a song, there's this very lengthy process of demoing, and usually it's not one. You try one demo, you don't like it. You go to the next one, you don't like it. You can spend weeks on a song. And sometimes it's pleasurable, but more often than not, it's really stressful. By the way, that's ChatGPT's version of me being stressed with a song idea. So what we wanted is to see if AI could allow us to demo or prototype a song idea so we could explore the possibilities in an efficient way. So efficiency was just for the exploring, not to get a final product. And in this process, we were able to try multiple directions. So that idea that you heard, we tried it as sort of like a smooth jazz tune.
Reaching for a time, drinking all the lines and waiting and feel my for a day. Reaching for the time.
So interesting, but not really what the artist was looking for. So we moved to pop. Why not? Popular music program.
Reaching for a time, drinking all the lines and waiting to feel my for a day. Reaching for the time.
So by the time we were done with experimenting with my students, we had 5 different versions that we personally liked and wanted to share with the artist. So the idea is we're handing it back to the artist. It's their song. They make all the decisions. We're just facilitating the process, helping them out along the way. And once they heard the versions, we had this really incredible conversation because I told them, look, I don't want this to be the end of the project. And I challenged them. I told them, if you guys are willing to finish the song and arrange the song, I will record it. I will bring you to the studio, and we're going to turn this into a human experience. Now, there was a lot of pushback in the conversation, and I was so grateful. I didn't want them to just be, yes, professor, let's do this. No. I told them, look, you don't have to do this. If you hate it, I want to hear it. If you love it, I want to hear whatever you have to say. So we got into a half-hour incredible conversation where they shared their insights, and I was able to share mine, and they agreed, you know what? Yes, if we leave it here, then that's our fears. AI did the song for us, we're done. So we're like, no, we're not going to let that happen. We're going to go through, finish the song. They did, and they did an incredible job. So now this is back in human hands, and now we're going to capture a human performance. So we organized a recording session, and this is where the third class comes to play. I teach a class in studio recording, and I challenged my students. I told them, look, We've been doing these small sessions during the semester. I've been teaching you how to do this. I want to challenge you. The last session in the semester, I'm just hanging out. You're going to run it, and it's not going to be one instrument. You're recording an entire ensemble, and they're all your friends. They jumped right into it, thankfully, because if not, I would have been in trouble. And they did such an amazing job that as we started, creating and developing this human-centered experience with AI, we realized that we were focusing on the human story, the human narrative, human creativity, human collaboration, human performance, and AI prototyping was just a catalyst. And I don't want to minimize the role of it, but it is important to sort of put AI in its place. It should not replace us. If it's not there to help us to become a better version of ourselves, I don't want to have anything to do with it. So what was a great surprise is that their performance was so good that we actually decided not just to finish the recording. I committed myself to finish the production, and we're planning on releasing the song in the second quarter of 2026. And even though it's not completely finalized, I hope you can enjoy the world premiere of part of the song. It's in its current state. This is all human beings playing live in the studio.
Reaching for the tide, but you're on the other side. I'm waiting, standing on the shoreline. The water leaves my knees, it pulls me with unease. I'm waiting because it's not time to cross this line. I'm sinking, I'll guide this diorite and find forsaking all of what I lived before, forgetting and moving on forevermore. Forsaking all of what I lived before, forgetting before. Your name is like a scar, but I've never come so far. I'm wanting, lost, still longing for.
So, I'm very excited to be able to show you this. Obviously, I had to ask permission for the songwriters. And I really hope this can help you find ways where you can apply this perspective, right? Where if you're in education, we need more of this, right? We need this in engineering. We need this in film. We need this in all of the arts, right? These tools are here. And as a faculty, I don't get to make the choice of if these tools are going to be in the workplace when my students graduate. It's already happening. So for me, it's our responsibility to show them how to explore these tools in a responsible way so they can make the decision on do they want to use them or not. But what I do not want to do is shy away from this because it makes me uncomfortable, because it does, and it still makes me very uncomfortable. That then my students graduate and they're in a further disadvantage when I know the professionals I talk to behind closed doors, outside is like, no, I hate AI, I would never use AI. Behind closed doors, it's like, yeah, I use it. So if Grammy winners are using this, to me, it's our responsibility, right, in our fields to bring these tools to our students. But more importantly, it's not just the tool, it's how do we use it? It's critical thinking. It's how do we do this in a way that it doesn't take away from all the work we've put into developing our skill set, that it doesn't take away from our creativity. We're not offloading the narrative to an algorithm. We have to lead with our narrative, our stories, and then use AI as a way to enhance that and explore. So thank you very much for listening and for your time and for being here.